Hey guys, Abe Ovadia here, Legally Exhausted podcast at the FJA event. We're doing another awesome podcast with another amazing attorney. We've got Carlos Jimenez here, a Panther graduate, FIU law graduate.
Go Panthers.
Go Panthers. And he does a lot of BI litigation, personal injury litigation, and med mal cases. He's got a firm with 11 attorneys. They're rocking and rolling. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about your firm, where you grew up, stuff like that.
Cool. Thanks for having me, Abe.
Thanks for being.
So we are an 11 lawyer firm. We're just in the downtown Dadeland area in the Amaranth Bank building.
Okay.
PI firm. We did a lot of homeowners work. That's kind of changing due to the legislator and the state of Florida law, which is terrible.
Yeah.
And, I do a lot of med mal myself. The firm is a good place to work. I work with some of my best friends, and I'm a Miami guy, born and raised. My old man was a lawyer.
What part of town were you born in?
I grew up in Coral Gables.
Okay.
And my family, I'm Cuban. My family's from Westchester.
Okay. Westchester, what up?
That's right. I'm a Miami guy. I went to Christopher Columbus High School.
Okay. That's why you're so smart, dude. They got the smartest kids out there. It's crazy.
They got something going on there. We Columbus guys take care of each other. Actually, that's how I ended up partners with Gabe.
Okay.
Mazzatelli. We didn't know each other in Columbus, but when I went out on my own, when I left the insurance practice, the defense, the dark days.
Okay.
My wife, I had some stupid questions I was embarrassed to ask anybody. Like, hey, how do you do a trust account? How do you, all the questions.
Okay.
My wife told me, hey, Gabe went to Columbus.
Oh, okay.
And that once I knew he went to Columbus, I knew I could ask him a stupid question.
Okay. That's cool. Because he was partners with another guy.
Marco. And Marco went back to the insurance industry. I think he's a lobbyist.
Oh, okay.
For the insurance industry. So if you're getting screwed right now by the Florida legislator, I think Marco had something to
blame
do with
him. Oh shit.
Marco Leite Vidal, shout out.
So him and Gabe were my lawyer for my homeowner's case back in the day. My first house I ever bought. I don't know if you knew that.
If they did a good job,
they did a good job. They did a good job. Yeah,
it was definitely Gabe.
It was Gabe. Okay, they did a good job. Yeah.
And by the way, I'm just kidding.
No, but it was. They did a good job. At that time, I didn't do homeowners. It was like a long time ago. It was my first house that I ever bought. Right when I became a lawyer. So making that lawyer money,
right?
I went out. State Farm did a big global settlement with me, and the first thing I did was I'm buying a house, and I bought a house in Boca
from the PIP days.
From the PIP days, yeah, that was my first big settlement. They called me and they go, "We want to pay you X amount of dollars," and I go, "Listen, bro, you owe me way more than that." And I said, the guy goes, "You can't try every case," and I had never tried a single case. And I go, watch me. I go, watch me try every single case. I had hundreds of PIP suits. I didn't know what I was saying, what I was doing. I was just like, no. And I ended up getting way more money than I thought I would ever get on those cases. And it was great. And then I went out and bought a house with the money. So
that is awesome.
Living the PIP dream.
I put the deposit on my house on the first referral fee I ever got.
Oh, a referral check that you got. Yeah. Oh, wow. Nice.
And I was just dating my wife, who's a divorce lawyer. Shout out, Christina Jimenez.
Don't mess with her, huh?
we were just dating. We didn't have any joint bank accounts. And I got a big check, and she said, "I think it's time for us to open a joint bank account."
When she saw that check,
yeah. So that ended up being our first house, which is a blessing, of course, because I would have, at the time I was young. I was like, oh, let's go to Vegas, thinking about what watch I would buy.
Yeah. That's cool. So tell me a little bit about your firm handles personal injury. You do the med mal. Are you the only attorney that does med mal?
No, Gabe. So our firm it's 11 lawyers. Ben Mortis, who was my partner when we were a captive firm for Imperial Fire back then, National General Companies. So don't hold that against us. Oof. And he kind of manages the lit team, the other lawyers, kind of lit strategy, that type of stuff. They run it by him. He was the boss at the insurance company. And Gabe and I do the med mal along with two really talented superstar lawyers, one of them being an FIU grad, Alexa Delgado, who is our senior associate, the one I work with the most.
Okay.
Rock star, superstar. If any other attorneys are listening to this, don't try to poach
Stay
her.
away.
Stay away. I'll come after you. And Elise Nuevo, who is a new attorney with us, but she had been our longtime law clerk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. That's always cool when people go to law school and then become a lawyer. That's what happened. Or she was in law school and she worked with you guys. Okay.
We met her. Gabe was in trial in front of Judge Arises, who we love. And Gabe's like, hey, I need an associate. And she says, I don't have an associate for you, but this clerk is pretty sharp. And Gabe took her on, and we've had her ever since, a few years now. And she's great. We're really excited about her future.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. It's always nice watching young lawyers develop and grow. And
Alexa in particular, she was our clerk as well. She left for a little while. I guess she wasn't sure she wanted to do PI. I was devastated. And she came back, and she is killing it. And it's cool to see her maturity and just like believing in herself. And she's ruthless now. You know, she's a real plaintiff's lawyer. You know.
Well, I think she learned for you guys, I guess. Yeah. So you grew up in Miami. Your main office is in.
So our main office is 9350 South Dixie Highway, Penthouse 5, the Amaranth Building. It's at
all the players are in Dadeland. What's up with that?
We live by there. It's nice. Okay. You know, you don't have to find parking. You don't go downtown. We don't go downtown anymore. And, you know, I used to work at Silva & Silva, great firm, very successful firm. They're in Coral Gables, and I loved being in Coral Gables, but it's nice to be close to where you live. And we also recently, somewhat in response to the legislator and the governor's new way of doing things, we opened an office in New York.
Oh, cool.
1123 Broadway.
Okay.
It's been open for like about a month. I think it's Suite 507.
Oh, awesome. So you guys are going to start handling cases in New York as well?
We started. Ben's already licensed in New York.
Okay.
And Gabe and I are in the process.
Okay. That's cool.
And, you know, to the extent any New York, Florida lawyers are listening, if you've got both licenses, give me a call. You're looking for a job.
Cool. Awesome. So tell me a little bit about why you became a lawyer, why particularly this area of law.
All right. So my dad was a lawyer, so I was always interested.
What kind of lawyer is he?
He was a criminal defense lawyer. Okay. And then before he passed away, he was a judge here in Miami-Dade County or down south. So I was always interested, take your kid to work day. And, it was very exciting. The police, there was a guy wearing a robe. The Gerstein building, the criminal courthouse is kind of dark in the courtrooms. I think most of them don't have windows. And it's just like a cool place. It reminded me of like Batman movies and stuff. And I always thought it was something I was interested in, but then I went another route. I was probably a wild guy in college and stuff. And I thought I'd be a chef.
Do you like to cook? You still cook?
Yeah, I still cook. Okay. Mostly I like to go to restaurants,
Yeah, foodie.
Yeah, that's big time foodie. That's the problem. Anyways, I was working in these restaurants. I was working for a nice caterer on Miami Beach, and the hours were terrible. The hours are terrible. Not that lawyer hours are great, but at least they're not Saturday night, Right. And my old man got me a job, really, with a judge as her bailiff.
Oh.
Margarita Escaros, who's now deceased. She was great.
You got to wear the uniform?
The whole thing. Oh, wow. I was a bailiff for a few years, and she was something else, and she would tell me sometimes in front of these guys are idiots. You are smart. I would imagine, I never talked to either one of them before they passed away about it. I would imagine they conspired to get me to go to law school. Go to law school.
Yeah. And so how old were you when you started law school? I
started at 27.
Oh, okay.
So a little older.
I graduated by 25.
Right.
So I was like,
I think
I'm an August baby, so it was weird, but I graduated at 25. So you started at 27.
I think.
Something like that. You getting up there in age, you can't tell anymore. I don't know. Okay. So a little bit of a late start going to law school, but, I find that a lot of the guys
maybe 25 and graduated around 27.
Something like that. Okay. Yeah. Like I find I remember in when I was in law school, the moms were like the smartest people in the school, the moms. I'm like, what? You take care of kids and like take care of your family and go to law school and get A's.
Right. And they weren't there to mess around and party.
Yeah.
And they were
I partied a little bit. I had fun. I worked out 2 hours a day. I ate clean. I partied at night. But yeah, maybe that's it. They were just so focused because maybe that was their dream to go to law school and show their kids, hey, I got, for them, failure is not an option. They got to show their kids success, and so, yeah, so awesome. So you start handling PI cases and you prefer to do litigation. We
like lit. That is our kind of our business model. There's a lot of firms that from a business perspective, everybody likes to get the case first, right? But the majority of our business and our practice comes from other lawyers who either don't like to litigate or they're too busy, whatever the case. So there's tons of reasons. Some powerhouse firms send us a lot of work, and obviously they could do the work, but for whatever reason they don't want that particular case, and that's where we get most of our work from. We love litigation. We think provided our clients are on board, we would rather litigate for 3 years, and try it if necessary and get every penny you're entitled to. That's our business model. Of course, on the business side, a pre-suit settlement is great, without a referral lawyer or but that's not always the case. And it's worked for us. It requires maybe a bigger team, 11 lawyers is,
it's a lot.
It's probably 9 lawyers more than I ever thought I'd have under our umbrella. But
lawyers could be prima donnas too. Especially young lawyers.
We've got a great team. We tend to hire friends, which I know I've heard 1,000 times. And, I recently, and I can't really get into it, but I recently split up with one of my partners. So it can be tricky for sure when you work with friends, but, I find it easier. There are certain, expectations that you have in each other of just common decency. And,
you know what it is I think it's alignment. Like everybody's aligned on the same page. Your friends want to see you succeed, whether they work with you or don't work with you. And I have at my office manager is my best friend since high school.
That's awesome.
My main marketing guy, best friend since we're 18. He was my nightclub promoter. He got me in all the spots down in Miami, Boca, awesome. You name it, Fort Lauderdale.
And he does marketing now?
And he does all the marketing. He knows everybody. Yeah, and he knows how to talk to people and meet them and be cool with them. And Chris, who's our our other marketing guy, grew up with his older sister. Dennis over here is Alvaro's brother. Everybody in the firm somehow at the upper levels all kind of knows each other. And these guys put in the work to see the company succeed and grow because they know that if the company grows, they grow as well financially, and everybody's aligned. And I think that's probably what it is when you have all these friends and connections and relationships is everybody's driven towards the same goal.
That's awesome. I've not really met too many people that think the same way on this topic as I do. My paralegal is my Cuban cousin. We were raised together.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
And she's great. And I know she has my best interest at heart. Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes she gets upset and emotional almost. Yeah. And it's because she doesn't want to let us down and the same with the lawyers. Most of the lawyers we know from before, we've got some, I don't want to get poached out here, but we've got some superstar young lawyers. Wilson is a young superstar lawyer, very popular on Instagram for whatever reason.
I'm telling you, you guys have a good Instagram account because I'm like, man, I wish I had something like that, Dennis.
Yeah.
But it's good. There's some chick, she follows you guys. You're like, hey, day in the life of an attorney. Boom. Yeah. Follows around.
I appreciate that. I was, my old man didn't advertise at all. And I started at a firm, Silva & Silva, that they don't believe in advertising, or at least then, I don't know what they do now. They didn't believe in advertising. And it used to be that was,
it was frowned upon.
It was frowned upon.
Older guys didn't like it. It was originally in the 1970s, there was no advertising. And then somebody said, hey, can I just advertise what practice areas I do in the yellow pages? And they're like, okay, but you can't do this. You can't say that. You can't do this. Got to be tombstone ad, just your name, your address, whatever. And over time, now we're at what I think is a hellhole of, a guy standing there with a check on a billboard looking healthy and looking clean. And then he's got a $1 million check. And I think it's too extreme
for sure.
But it is a First Amendment right, but older guys hate advertising and they frown upon it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the same, my thoughts are the same. Some of it is okay.
Yeah.
We feel comfortable putting stuff out on Instagram. I was against it for a while just because I was raised that way. Mm-hmm. My cousin sent a case to somebody else.
Oh, wow. Hurts.
And she said, I didn't know you did that.
Right.
And I was like, damn, that's on me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I don't know. We get compliments on our Instagram. I don't know if it's working necessarily, but at least reminding people what we do.
Yeah.
Showcase some of our results, showcase some of our attorneys.
Mm-hmm. Got to stay top of mind.
Get with the times.
And then if they don't know you, they can't flow you.
Right, for sure.
Right? There you go. So,
and it's nice. It's nice for people to get to know you a little bit personally.
Mm-hmm. That's what this is. People get to know you and meet you and say, oh man, I like that guy. He's Cuban. I'm Cuban. Great. I want to have a connection now or something.
Get ready for the JMM podcast to start competing.
Hey, I'll help you set it up, man. I'd be happy to see you succeed doing a podcast. Yeah. But,
lawyers who do what
you can have me on your podcast.
Your first guest. Lawyers who do what we do are, I think, unique in that we really promote each other and try to help each other, share stuff, and I'm not sure other practice areas are the same way.
Yeah, it depends too. I mean, for me, I used to operate out of scarcity, and I was thinking, oh man, there's limited clients, there's limited this, but at the end of the day, if you help somebody and then they help somebody and they help you, and everybody kind of the ship rises. You know what I mean? Everybody rises together, and I think since we're here at the FJA, we might as well mention the FJA. If they're doing good, personal injury lawyers are doing good. And most importantly, the Florida consumers, anybody who's hurt in the state of Florida is doing good if the FJA is doing good. That's what I like about that.
Absolutely. Listen, I hate cutting checks like anybody. And
Rob Polk, does Rob Polk do Miami?
Yeah, he does. He deals with Gabe.
Dude.
He deals with Gabe.
Okay.
But Gabe's that guy at the firm. But I hate it, but it's important. The FJA looks out for us. My friend Todd Michaels got me somewhat involved in the FJA years ago because I complained a lot to him. He's a mentor of mine, and he's explained to me, and he continues to. Sometimes he has to reiterate how important the FJA is. Mm-hmm. Normally, when they ask me for a check, how important they are to us, and more importantly to our clients, consumers, patients. Our clients are getting screwed.
Yeah.
And, luckily we've all done well and put some money away. The other good thing about the FJA is we get a hell of a room rate at the breakers.
Oh here. Man, these guys are good. I talked to, is this a recording, Dennis? It's just, okay.
I didn't stop.
Yeah. I was just talking to somebody at the FJA. They go, listen, man, these lawyers, they buy out the bar at whatever hotel we go to. The hotel's begging us, please come by. We'll give you the cheapest room rates ever. Yeah.
No, the rates are great.
Yeah.
I've stayed here with my wife for a weekend, and it's pretty good. My wife's actually going to come up on Friday.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Today is what, Thursday? Today's Thursday. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I've been here this whole time. I'm like, I've done so many of these podcasts now. I'm like, what day is it? Where am I? I don't know which one I'm at, but awesome. So you were talking about the FJA, great organization. Rob Polk, amazing man at convincing you to give more money. And he does a phenomenal job. I met him through my friend Joe Nussbaum, and ever since then, I think Rob just he knows the pressure points on making me give, and convincing me that I'm doing a great thing, which it is a great thing. And I'm thankful to know him and the FJA, because they do such an amazing job. If it wasn't for them, House Bill 837 would have been way worse than it was.
That bill got a lot better. Yeah. With the money we gave, with the attention that money brought on that bill. The FJA did great work on that bill. It was not great. It was a dark day for Floridians, but it could have been worse. And, hopefully my hope is that things are going to change. Maybe not this session, but the next. We're hearing good things.
At this point, they're going to get rid of PIP. I mean, PIP is basically neutered, right? They got rid of attorney's fees. So there's nothing, if the insurance company says, hey, we're going to pay you $3,000, we owe you 10. What are you going to do about it? There's no attorney's fees now in most cases.
Or even the smaller scenario where the insurance company, and I know it, I was at one for a few years. I was a part of one. The insurance company wants to save $10 a claim. They're going to save $10 a claim, and nobody's going to take that lawsuit. Nobody's going to hold them accountable. And it sounds like nothing, but when they save $10 a claim 100,000 times, they're getting away with murder. It's a free for all.
A lot of money. Yeah.
And nobody's there to hold them accountable. Hopefully, maybe some of that will come back. Or we'll see. Just trusting insurance companies to do the right thing. Just isn't going to work.
Yeah. I was talking to another guest on the show, and he told me basically that that law has been around for 100 years before this happened, where if you sue your insurance company in Florida for denying or delaying or not properly paying, you get your attorney's fees paid for. And now it's gone after 100 years. And people are realizing that now. Hurricane Ian, their claim was they're protected. They still get fees. I know some defense firms are saying no, but they still get fees.
The statute's pretty clear, despite what the defense firms, mostly Cole Scott, was saying.
Yeah. And now there's Adalia, which I think is under the new regime where there's no fees. And then there's any other hurricane, and I think people are seeing it now with Ian. Even when you get fees, it doesn't make you whole. Right. You still got a deductible, if anything, and when no one in your neighborhood has a fence or a roof, costs go up.
I think, unfortunately, what's going to have to happen if the FJA is not successful soon is we're going to get hit by a storm, and Floridians are going to realize just how screwed they got. Because I don't think people have the slightest idea. Because what you hear out of the governor's office, and these are not personal shots. This is just what you hear out of there, and what you hear is the attorneys. Right.
Predatory billboard lawyers.
Yeah. It's bull.
Yeah.
What, John Morgan didn't want to support the governor? This is like personal. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the reasoning is.
I don't know. We know that Charlie Crist worked for Morgan & Morgan for a few years while he was waiting for his next gig in an elected position. And I don't know their relationship. I don't know. I think that's a rumor, right? Is that like there was some personal touch here. But I will say this. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, so that AOB legislation, I think worked
on the homeowners case. Totally worked. A lot of those AOB cases were scammy, shady people.
Not anybody I represented, for the record, but I get it. But this has been an overcorrection, and they're out there announcing that rates are going to go down. A few days after the signing, Citizens announces, I think it was a 12% rate hike. This is highway robbery.
The maximum by law.
Floridians are just frankly getting screwed.
Yeah. And I was just about to mention, the rates are high because every time I turn on the TV, I see a Geico ad, I see a Progressive ad. Everybody knows the Gecko, everybody knows Flo, everybody knows Estrella Insurance, Yeah. And I'm just like, why do they spend so much money advertising? You have a guaranteed consumer. People have to buy auto insurance. If you have a mortgage, you have to buy homeowners insurance. Why are they spending so much time and energy advertising all this money and then not passing it back? You know how many people would go with Geico if it was the cheapest option? If it was cheaper than United Auto and Ocean Harbor and all those, everybody would go with Geico. Why are they spending all this money? Everybody knows Geico. I don't get it. State Farm, same way, right? They all have these cool advertising things. Yeah. And you see those more than you see the predatory billboard lawyer ads. So,
the truth of the matter is they're both doing well. The insurance companies, despite crime broke, they're doing just fine.
Just raking in dough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's highway robbery. It gets me riled up. And having worked at an insurance company, and they weren't evil people necessarily, but that's the business model.
Are you talking about Imperial though?
I'm not sure what I'm allowed to talk about, but I worked there. They're not bad people, but the insurance industry business model, not specifically any carrier that I worked for.
Okay. Imperial's good though. Not to call them out or anything, but I had a client, and this was kind of a funny story. I'm trying to think here. So the guy treated went to the chiro, got MRI. He got an injection with the pain management doctor, said he's in a lot of pain, whatever. We submit his demand package and the insurance company, Imperial, says, hey, this guy's not hurt. And I'm like, come on, the guy's hurt. He went to this, he's got MRI, he's got this, whatever. They go, no. We got a statement from him that says he's not hurt. And I'm like, oh, let me guess. It was the day of the accident, right? And they're like, well, actually it was like 2 weeks after the accident. And I'm like, oh, well, let me guess. He said, I'm feeling fine today when you asked him how he's doing. And that's what you mean. And they're like, no, we asked him a very specific set of questions. Like, how are you doing today? Do you have any pain today? Can you just give us a number for your pain? 0 to 10, 10 is bad. They went through like 10 questions like that. And he's like, no, I'm feeling fine. I feel great. I have no injuries. And I go, call the client. I'm like, dude, you are an absolute moron. What are you doing here? And he's like, no, but the pain just materialized like 3 weeks later. Anything can happen. But yeah. I go, dude, this is a really tough case now. And I think we were able to resolve it, but not for what the guy was expecting. And,
unfortunately, I probably wrote those questions.
Yeah.
Benjamin Mortensen and myself. Sometimes people tell me how great their EUOs are. And I'm like, oh, we wrote that script. So.
There you go. So I got no beef with Imperial. I mean, I wish they would sell more BI policies. That's all. But
yeah, I know, right?
But that's Miami. And,
if the legislator, and I know the FJA is working on it, pass some mandatory bodily injury, people would be safer on the streets, protected at a minimum after something bad happens.
Yeah, and I like I said, I think PIP has. I've always fought to keep PIP, but I think PIP is over as far as the future, because first of all, it's from 1970s, that $10,000, the 1970s rate, no cost of inflation. And at this point, there's no, like you said, the word accountability.
Right.
They don't want to pay. What are you going to do about it?
And I'm just learning this in New York, they have like a modified PIP where it's like an arbitration, but written arbitration.
Yeah.
At least there's some avenue. It seems here, and I'm not a constitutional scholar by any means. Shout out to Professor Baker. But it seems as though they've taken away access to courts.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't seem constitutional to me. Maybe your old employer, Russ Lazega, is going to take that up. I would imagine somebody's going to take it up.
I don't know. I personally, so the trade-off is, like, everybody talking about PIP and the Constitution we're talking about, but the trade-off is, hey, in exchange for me not suing somebody for the first $10,000, I'm going to give up my rights by buying this PIP policy, and the court said that it's constitutional back in the 70s, fine. But they keep chipping and chipping and chipping until now there's no accountability. So as a consumer, if I'm rear-ended, I'm giving up the right to sue this person for the first $10,000. But if the insurance company doesn't pay, I'm out $10,000 because the bodily injury company is going to take a $10K set off against my claim, and they're going to deny me on the first $10,000 and say, oh, well, you have PIP. Hey, but my PIP didn't pay. Too bad. The law is the law. Well, that's where you make the constitutional argument. I don't know. I think my firm filed 6,000 lawsuits this month. We're going to hit that number, and we're going to hit 6,000 next month. And before this law,
cases.
PIP suits. Yeah. Before that, we were filing about 1,000. So it had this effect where it's like, hey, we got to just file everything, clean out our inventory.
Same.
Geico, Progressive, Ocean Harbor, United Auto. Hey, we need you to sue us so we can get the settlement and do a dismissal with prejudice. And we don't have to get sued in the next 5 years from 10 different PIP attorneys or whatever going through the files. We just settle it out right now. Don't tie my arm behind my back. Sure, I'll sue you. And then that's what they've been doing, is settling every single case that we file on, because
we've been approached. Yeah. We still haven't gone the global route.
Don't do a global with Geico, man. They're gonna
no. Yeah. Listen, I mean, whatever's fair to our clients, we'll see. But this is the end. We're going to take every penny allowed for our clients, provided our clients are on board and they don't need the money. Well, so with Geico, just to go back to Geico, we had a sit down mediation. They offered us a number, and it's like 10% of the value of what it is. And, if you're going to tell me, hey, look, you don't got to do any work, we'll pay you this, your clients will get paid, you'll get paid, we're good. But you're talking about 10% of the value. So we ended up suing them. And we've already gotten double what that offer was. And we're not even a third of the way through, let me say. So I won't say the carrier, but I had a friend at a carrier. I have a lot of defense lawyer friends. They're just because they chose to work for the dark side doesn't mean they're bad people.
Yeah.
But the same type of thing. It was a small global. They offered a number that I told them this is just insulting. This is stupid. Mm-hmm. And then we just kept a chart. We need to destroy this number.
Yeah.
To just, let's destroy this number. And the same as you guys. We've killed it. I've sent the email. I told you email, like maybe next time you guys want to be serious.
Yeah.
In the past with those things, what we've done is we've asked for some sort of serious offer counter, right? We send the first demand. We've asked for some serious counter before we sit down. Let's not waste time.
Oh, we were there for, I want to say 7 hours or so. And they hadn't moved an inch. And I'm going, are these people like, do they know how PIP suits work?
Right. The case gets more value.
Yeah. And it was very odd. And it was just the people, in my opinion, it was the people at Geico, at the mediation that tanked it.
Those specific people, because they're very good people at Geico.
Yeah, they're honestly, the in-house people are super nice and I love them. But this was outside guys, smart guys.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Start talking about how they're going to sue your clients?
No. Just like very heavy-handed, we'll say. And didn't want to budge. And so, we obviously it was just a business choice at that point, and we moved forward, and we've already recovered way more money than I thought we were going to get. And our clients are happier for it. We're happier for it. And at the end of the day, honestly, I think it's better for them because now they get a dismissal with prejudice, and they don't have to worry about another attorney coming up
interest
behind.
Argument or something.
Yeah.
Wow. I miss being involved in the day-to-day in PIP. It's such a hyper-technical, fun.
Oh my gosh.
The game of gotcha,
Yeah.
But I do like working on bigger cases, like bigger for the client, right?
Right.
Because PIP cases add up. But
we're pretty reasonable on the fees. Yeah. But I know there's some people out there that aren't, but we're pretty reasonable. I think that's why we get them settled quickly, is because we're taking a lower fee to get it done and just churn it and get the client some money and move on, and not fight for weeks and months and years over what our fees are.
PIP was a great way as a young attorney to really get comfortable in the courtroom. It's sad if it's gone, because that alone was worth, I really was in court every day back when we would go to court every day. Or it was like the equivalent of the public defender's office or the state attorney's office.
For PIP, yeah.
Yeah, for civil, right?
Yeah.
And you're in there working on stuff that really didn't matter too much.
The worst that happens is you're like, oh, I made a mistake here. Let me come out of pocket and pay it myself.
Make it right. Yeah. But that it was fun, fighting like your life depended on it, fighting with some really good plaintiff lawyers. Some that I have a ton of respect for. Some really good plaintiff PIP lawyers.
And if you're watching this and you have no idea what PIP is, don't even worry learning about it. It'll be gone in 2 years.
But hopefully it'll come back. Keep the insurance companies honest.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't think it is coming back. I think mandatory BI was like locked in. DeSantis vetoed it. I think it was locked in to go away again. He said, hey, we're just going to take away attorneys' fees from it. That's the problem, which that's not really the problem. That honestly, all the cases, they kind of resolved themselves out. Yeah. If I was going to change PIP, I would have done a work comp fee schedule. Forget about Medicare. They got 5 different fee schedules for Medicare for one code. I said, nah, let's do work comp. It's easier.
Or 80% of the fee schedule. Something. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, that's what they used to have, was 80% of whatever the doctor billed, pretty much UCR. And then that was a joke. They had it good back then, but so let's talk about maybe a med mal case that you recently handled that you had mentioned some stroke cases, like failure to diagnose a stroke or what? Right.
Some of these AFib cases, not anticoagulating the patient correctly. Stroke cases are interesting. Med mal is just interesting because whatever the case is, even a shoulder case or a stroke case, obviously, unfortunately, the damages are huge, serious cases. But whatever the case is, you learn from people much more intelligent than myself, your experts, about some area. I'm learning about, anticoagulation and not doing it, what that can do, or I'm learning about shoulder surgery or spine surgery, whatever the case may be. And it's just it's interesting because, this car accidents can be interesting, but it's this, this is a rear end, or this is a side swipe, or this is a T-bone, whatever. And these cases can can just be almost routine.
Yeah.
It's hard not to fall into that. And MedMal, that's just not the case because, bad facts are in a nursing home case. You've got a guy who's terribly sick, Alzheimer's, just somebody who's not with it. And, you think that's a bad fact, but no, he or she's in the care of this nursing home for that reason. It's a good fact. Okay. And it can be just so interesting when you get a good expert to really teach you the medicine. And every case is different because even if it's, if I'm doing a bed sore nursing home case, but each patient's history makes the case different. So
it's very fact specific.
Very fact specific.
A lot of the car accidents, the fact of how the accident happened can be, like you said, either a rear end or a side swipe or whatever.
Once you establish liability, however you're going to establish it, you move on. But MedMal can be very fact specific. I love the trucking stuff. That's a case I wouldn't mind talking about. We helped a woman. I'll just call her Nancy. We've reached a resolution. She's a Floridian. Her husband was in Georgia driving for a Florida company.
Okay. She was driving a
tractor trailer.
Tractor trailer. Okay.
Ended up being rear-ended by another tractor trailer.
Oh wow.
Really, he unfortunately passed away.
Your client or the driver of
my client?
Client. Your client passed away. Wow.
And his co-driver also passed away.
Oh wow.
We're represented by Morgan & Morgan, by their guy out of Georgia, great lawyer. He's a sports agent too. Evan Rosenberg, great lawyer.
Okay.
Probably a better agent. So they call me through a family friend, and I said, sure, this sounds like this type of stuff we'll do. Obviously it's tragic. I will be glad to meet you at your house. And I pull up to her house, and it's something, cause I can get jaded, obviously I do this to make a living, and, sometimes I can be pretty jaded, but you forget sometimes, and it's important not to, how much you can help people. Right.
Right.
I show up to this lady's house. She's a traditional stay-at-home mom, and outside there's a sign with her pots and pans that says "Se vende," we're selling.
Oh wow.
She was literally selling her pots and pans because they lived paycheck to paycheck. And the only breadwinner had just passed away.
Wow.
And, needless to say, she's a Cuban lady. I'm Cuban. She reminds me of my family. She was a sweetheart, trusting, my favorite, maybe the best client I've ever had, my favorite client. And I think my partner feels the same way. I know Alexa feels the same way, my associate or senior associate. And, we were able to help her and secure, I think, a pretty big recovery for her. And she has, at least financially, no worries. She had, she had lost a son to cancer previously. It was just one of these cases that you can't, if you don't take that personally, you're in the wrong field.
Yeah.
That I'll never forget that Se vende. I took a picture. I have it somewhere.
Yeah. Wow. And, people don't realize, they see the billboard with the person with the big check. They don't realize, hey, that's probably the spouse of the deceased. Absolutely. That's probably, that person probably experiencing tons of pain emotionally, physically. And even this money is never going to bring back her husband, her significant other. But, at the end of the day, you're able to, supplement financially that loss, which, like you said, people are paycheck to paycheck. Most of the country is paycheck to paycheck or even behind on their bills.
Right.
And something tragic happens and now, poof, it's all gone. The little sense of security people have is gone, not through any fault of their own. Your client was driving normal, everything's fine, and then they get rear-ended by another trucker, which is wild. And so that's great that, that's what I love about being a personal injury lawyer myself, is we get to help people who are really affected. Billionaires could sue each other all day, and lawyers are great for that too. But at the end of the day, we get to help the little guy, the person who's, didn't get all the benefits and didn't get the best cards dealt. And that's what I love about what we do.
Absolutely. And, everybody gets injured, but at my firm, we tend to help immigrants, people who have similar, family histories to mine. I love doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else I do.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. We do some commercial lit. We've done we've tried a few commercial lit cases, but personal injury, medical malpractice, helping the little guy, David versus Goliath, that type of stuff. I love it.
Yeah. And it is David versus Goliath. These insurance companies, to them, cutting a check to lawyers is all day. They just cut checks, pay them, no problem.
It's funny, especially here at the FJA, we all tell our war stories to each other. And this is a 2-second story of, and then we recovered a ton of money. They didn't just say, my guy rear-ended your guy. Let me give you guys all this money.
Right.
Give your client all this money.
Yeah.
They fought us like hell, we had to get experts and prove the obvious.
Right. Right. And just, exactly. And they'll come up with the most ridiculous, ludicrous ideas that it's your fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And unfortunately, a lot of times our clients aren't alive anymore to defend themselves.
Right.
So we've got to rely on the science and the right experts.
Don't say trust the science on this podcast, please.
No. So that one was personal.
It's funny.
We keep in touch.
Yeah. As lawyers, it's funny. We know trust the science. There's two sciences, right? There's the one that this guy's paying for and the one that this guy's paying for. And a lot of times the science that the defense firms are paying for, I don't buy it at all. So
well, the thing is, we tend to pay these guys less often, right? Yes, I use if an expert's good, he or she, I'll use them again.
Yeah.
But you do some of this discovery on, I'll use Cole Scott, nothing against them, but Cole Scott could have hired the same expert, 150 times. This guy's made millions of dollars off them.
Right.
So that science is pretty hard to trust at that point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if somebody, financed my lifestyle. I'm not sure if I wouldn't even subconsciously start seeing things in their favor.
Start off with one result and say, I want to get here. How do I do it?
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So, awesome. Tell me a little bit about you. We know you do med mal. We know you do personal injury. You love litigation. Tell us a little about you personally. What do you like to do outside of practicing law?
Sure. I'm a dad. I've got 2 kids, Tommy and Mateo, Tomas and Mateo. I'm married to Christina, who I met in law school.
Fellow Panther?
Yeah.
I love that. It's great.
Yeah. She is excellent. She's great. She's a great lawyer, but a better wife and mom. My family, we do the regular family stuff, Miami stuff. I play a lot of golf. I'm not good. I've been playing my whole life and I'm not good at all.
How old are your kids?
My kids are turning 7 and turning 3. We're a birthday time of year.
Yeah, it gets bad. Well, the 7-year-old is probably good right now. For me, my kids, till they were 6 and 7, I didn't want anything to do with them. I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are just screaming the whole time. At least now you can rationalize with your 7-year-old.
Yeah, the 3-year-old's just drunk. This is madness. But they're fun. The age difference is nice because he's clearly an older brother, so there's no picking on the little guy.
Oh, okay.
They fight, of course, over they're 2 boys. They fight over toys or a soccer ball or whatever.
Yeah.
But I work a lot because I love working, and I work with friends. Gabe's one of my best friends. Ben is one of my best friends. So I love working, but we hang out. We just we hang. I'm a family guy. I guess I'm kind of boring now.
Yeah.
But I don't mind it.
You guys like to go to Disney. You guys like to travel.
We go to Disney. We love going to New York. We just opened an office there.
Oh, okay. Did you just open that office for the write-offs or what? No, just
yeah, it's not. It doesn't hurt, right? But although New York taxes are wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had an office in Michigan. What you could do is if you got to pay state taxes in New York, I don't know if I should say this all on video.
Yeah.
You wash the money back to your Florida corp, so that as a consultation fee, and then you make basically little to no money in that state.
Yeah, we'll talk offline about your CPA. Yeah. I wouldn't mind. Yeah, it's interesting the taxes.
They probably got a lot of taxes. Yeah.
But I don't think IRS agents are your.
No, they're not watching this.
Yeah.
But it's all legal. That's the best part. It's all legal. My CPA told me just how you got to do it. But because Michigan has a lot of taxes too. But
Michigan has PIP, right?
They have PIP, but it's very different from what we have. And it's unusual. When I started going to Michigan, they had unlimited PIP for the rest of your life It was like premium insurance. They paid the same amount that we paid. They would retrofit your house for a wheelchair if you ended up in a wheelchair.
Good Lord.
They would buy you a new car that had wheelchair accessible that you could drive yourself if you were able to. And they all pay the same amount that we pay here in Florida for $10K. It just doesn't make sense. They've since gone the same. You know how other countries like they'll start to go, communist, socialist, and you're like, oh, they did that in that country, and now they're doing the same thing. They did it in Cuba, they're doing it in Venezuela, they're doing it in Bolivia, they're doing it in Colombia a little bit now. And you can see the pattern, and it's the same thing in Michigan. They're like, oh, the rates keep going up. It's these lawyers, it's these PIP guys. Yeah. And so I don't know what it is now. I think it's like $250,000 in PIP. No fee schedule. And they have, very different rules from us, but because it's such a big limits area. But we went up there. It was just too cold for me to go.
You're not there anymore?
No, it was very cold. But I kept my license active up there, and every now and then I'll get like something weird up there or something. But yeah.
We love being in New York. Ben's the only one right now licensed there. I love going. There's worse places to have to go for sure.
Yeah.
The food is great. The art, the culture is great. Yeah. With the kids, we love going to South Carolina. We go to Kiowa a lot. It's like a sleepy golf town, but it's gorgeous.
Oh, cool. What's it called?
Kiowa Island.
Kiowa Island. Okay.
It's just outside of Charleston, 45 minutes outside of Charleston.
Okay.
And there's no Miamians. And I love being from Miami.
Yeah.
I love Miami, but it isn't, in Miami, you go out to dinner, you run into 100 people, everybody grew up with, and but it's nice, and the Southerners are nice, but they really don't want anything to do with me. I'm obviously.
It's like when Miami people go to Key West, they're like, oh man, all the Miami people are down here this weekend, Or
Marco Island, you go. It's like might as well have not left town.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. Where's that place that I like? Dennis, where's that place at? The Bubble Room that I told you we go to. Man. It's like it's out. It's north of Marco Island. It's like Marco Island of Fort Myers. I forget what it's called.
I don't know it.
Beautiful out there. It's way better than Marco Island. Sanibel Island and Captiva.
That's
beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's real nice.
Those are nice. No Miami people there. It's all the Fort Myers people, and they're like no Miami people. But I was actually born in Kendall, and then I lived in North Miami Beach until I was 10, and then I moved to Boca when I was 10. So that was a culture shock to me. I was like, people don't walk around without t-shirts out here. What the hell? You go to Miami, nobody's got a t-shirt. All the guys don't have a t-shirt out in the middle of the day. You go to Boca and everybody's like, why aren't you wearing a t-shirt? Are you homeless? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
I love Miami. Yeah. I love it, but it's nice to vacation and be at the beach with your kids and not know anybody, and go to dinner and not know anybody.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm always working, right? My old boss, I ran into him once at Merrick Park on a Saturday, and I was like in basketball shorts or something. I was a young lawyer, and he's like, "Hey, you look like shit." What? Hey, you represent the firm.
Yeah.
And I was like, I guess you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I try not to look like
something very similar before. Because you look like a homeless person right now. I go, it's a weekend. Leave me alone.
But I guess your clients don't know that. Yeah, right? No. The judges don't know that.
Right. Yeah. So cool. I love hanging out with my kids. It's like all we do right now. We're doing all sorts of school activities, and I love hanging out with the kids at the pool, and we do like water park stuff. That Aventura is beautiful. The Aventura Turnberry.
I haven't been yet.
You haven't been there? Dude, that place is great.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
There. So they're 8 and 10. I got an 8-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy.
You're a little ahead of me, yeah.
Yeah, and he's my son is like so cool right now. He's like, Dad, you're amazing. You're such a great dad. And I'm like, what?
Oh, that's awesome. My kids show me zero affection.
No, my daughter is like, you're a horrible dad. She swears she's like 18 years old, and she's like, she wants to wear crop tops. And I'm like, you're not wearing any crop tops in this house.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
2 boys. I got 2 boys, so I don't have those problems. I think I'll have a different set of problems. But yeah, they are mama's boys. They love mom. Mom gets all the affection, but we got the sports stuff.
Yeah.
They seem to like sports, and I take them to the soccer games, and my son was playing t-ball and just started coach pitch last year. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
video games and stuff.
Yeah, I got the Sonic the Hedgehog game for my son, and my daughter likes playing games too, video games with us. But it gets better when they, like I said, when they hit like 5 or 6, and they're both that age, it'll just be like a dream, because that's, to me right now, is like the best time ever. And I heard in a couple years they're not gonna want anything to do with me, and I'll be like, fine, move on. I got what I wanted.
Yeah, I know.
I got the affection for a few years, and now you can go do what you want, and hopefully they go the right path. You know,
when my kids were born, the first one, Tommy, I immediately felt guilt, because my dad used to say things like, you know, I'd give my right arm for you, and things like, and they say these things, and you don't understand until you have kids.
Yeah.
I immediately felt guilty. Like, they just they didn't know what they were doing either, you know?
Yeah.
So,
but he didn't say that to you before you were 5.
No.
Before you were 5, you're probably like a little shit, just like all the other kids that drive you crazy. I'm like, dude, but it's funny now. I'm here we're at the Breakers. I see all these little babies around. I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? Look so cute. And I'm talking about, maybe we should have kids again. And I'm thinking to myself, Abe, just keep your mouth shut. We made it out alive with the 2 that we got, and just move on, bro.
To go back to diapers now would be tough.
Yeah. Well, I also got a vasectomy, so that's gonna be tough to go back.
They're reversible.
I don't know. I asked my guy. He goes. It's funny. Afterwards, I'm waking up. I go, hey doc, this is reversible if I wanted to. He goes, ugh. He goes like that. I go, did you just go, ugh? Like, what does that mean?
Cut a little extra, right?
Yeah. I was like, what are you doing, man? So, anyways, on that awesome note. How can people get a hold of you if they want to contact you, your firm? They've got an injury case, they got a med mal case. How can they get a hold of you? And just look at that camera and just do your spiel.
We're on Instagram, JMM_law. So Jimenez Mazzatelli Mortis. Or you can call the office, 305-548-8750. I don't know the New York number offhand yet. MyFloridaLitigators.com. Give us a call. Because we're, in our view, a attorney heavy firm at 11 lawyers, you meet with attorneys, you talk with attorneys, you can talk with me, you can meet with me. Give us a call.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the podcast. I appreciate you being here, taking the time.
This was fun.
Thanks. Yeah.